Hi, good afternoon and welcome to the Marketplace. My name is Darryl Kwao. Coming up this afternoon, freight forwarders asking government to restore online clearance platform GCNet. Meanwhile, it's emerged GCNet refused to hand over important data to government and operators of port management system Unipass. We have details for you. Also on the Marketplace, we'll hear from the MD of the Ghana Stock Exchange on performance for first quarter amid the coronavirus pandemic. And the pandemic is affecting just about everything, including sports. Kids sponsor Puma for Ghana's football teams has reviewed its deal with the GFA. We have some analysis on that, plus other stories here on the Marketplace. Welcome back to the Marketplace. We have new information on the Unipass saga. It has emerged that Kupia, the operators of Unipass, were contracted by government to undertake an audit of GCNet, and Westbrook Consulting, the company's managing port clearance then. Although GCNet during the audit did not provide their data dictionary and infrastructure plan to Kupia, the report issued by Unipass recommended a total change in the port's management system. Kawasaki, who is Deputy General Manager of GCNet, has been explaining to Joy Business why they would not hand over their data dictionary and source codes even to the government.
No, I remember when we were written to that Unipass was coming to interview or coming to carry out an audit. And the first thing we wrote was that Unipass, okay, the Kupia, is actually the same to the Korean counterpart of GCNet.
Yeah, Korean Customs Agency.
Yeah, no, they have the Kupia. The Unipass is the software. Kupia is the IT arm of, which is the same as GCNet. So their job is basically to do what GCNet is doing. So they focus on technology. And so first we raise an issue that that entity can't carry out this in an impartial manner because they've already been trying to make overtures to come into Ghana. So we raised that issue. GCNet actually formally wrote to government that...
you were aware that they were interested in coming to Ghana?
We were very much aware. And so we wrote that report.
You thought that it was a cover-up by the government then to
I
get them to understand what your system is?
Yeah, so they wrote those reports. They came up with many issues because they came to us and we were very blunt that, look, some of the stuff you're looking for, data dictionary, on what basis should I give data dictionary, which is like the blueprint of my database to you? How do you give network architecture to you? You know, those are things that you can't give out to anybody because they are proprietary stuff. Those are stuff that make your system work. You know, so we couldn't give that to them. You understand? And so from my perspective, the stuff they wrote in the report were flawed. They wrote many stuff. Later on, we got to see some of the reports because a lot of the things that they talked about, actually, and to date, sometimes we hear those things, were not true.
What did they exactly talk about that you were against?
So they talked about the fact that the ministries, departments, and agencies were not issuing permits electronically, which is not true. They talked about the fact that the system did not support paperless functionality, which is clearly not true. We saw
paperless being implemented by the Vice President. I mean, the big fanfare, the talk about let's go paperless. Yeah, but then did it exist before then?
Yes, it did. Paperless had been implemented in Takrady way back in 2012, 2011, 2012. I think the system was designed to be paperless right from day one. What you needed to do was somebody to champion paperless, to get people to change their way of doing business. But the system has been designed to be paperless right from day one. And so what the Vice President did was basically to say, look, we have all these systems, and which is what a project champion does. Say, look, I'm going to harness the technology we've deployed, make sure it works. And that's what the Vice President did. And so we didn't change any systems. No, we didn't change any systems. All we did was to be able to make sure that what the Vice President did, we forced people to do it. It's as simple as that. Yeah. So those things, and so if we Kupia and Korea, they know the systems we work with are coming from Singapore. Singapore ease of doing business ranking actually is rated higher than Korea. It's number 2, Korea is number 5. You can't tell me that they were going to give you an impartial review.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders in Takoradi on Thursday picketed the Takoradi port to pile pressure on government to restore online clearance platform GCNet. The freight forwarders say clearance processes are now being done manually after the current platform, Unipass, developed glitches, making goods clearance a nightmare. Government is yet to make a call on the matter, but the freight forwarders believe the situation must be addressed to avert huge revenue losses at the port. An executive member of the Institute of Freight Forwarders, Paul Bento, has been speaking with JoyNews.
What is happening is that the Unipass, which is also known as the Integrated Customs Management System, which is the ICAM, what is happening at the moment is that we just came to register our displeasure as to what is going on. It is really affecting the importers as well as the clearing agents. It makes us sound as if we are incompetent. What is happening at the moment is that the system is so robust in such a way that right now it is not as it used to be. Now, in the first place, let's go back to history and find out why we are registering our displeasure now. What is happening that in the early stages in the 20s, what happened is that we're having a scooter system, which was more or less having some sort of hitches here and there, and the government saw it that, no, we have to change the system to make it more stronger. And they brought in what you call the GCNet, Ghana Community Network. When they came into the system, what they did was so lofty. What they did was that they went to the extent of making sure that they don't eradicate this Ascuda totally. What they did was that they will make sure that they work par with them gradually. It took almost 3 months before they were able to get it at par, so that 6 months, I guess, yeah, before they were able to get it done. And owing to that, when everything was rolled on, it was so okay for every layman to be able to do the clearances at the port. Now, what is happening to the ICAM now is that when you pay your duty, you may not even find it in the system when you come to the bank. You have to go round to find out what is really happening. Now, even when the vessel comes, earlier on, they will just do the rotation and everything on the system so that you'll be able to go to the wherever you are to be able to get the necessary information. But now what is happening? The vessel has to come, they have to tally, they have to make sure it goes to the other sectors. We don't have a problem. But what is happening? Other people, the stakeholders, are not able to hook into the system. And so it's giving us a problem. When you send your declaration, you realize that you are not able to even pay. We have to even go to the system what we call manual. Who are saying there is no manual? I am saying that there is manual. That is what is happening. We are picking manual to go to officers to minute on it. The officers has no problem. All they are doing is to collect revenue. But what is happening? The government is not getting the revenue in Takoradi as expected, because there is a slowdown issue here now. That slowdown issue is not bringing revenue to the government. Unlike the GCNet, where they can even quantify whatever they can get within a minute. Now what is happening now? We are not able to pay through our system, and they will tell you that there's something we call come in or go out, or whatever it is, and you have noticed that it's not working.
Freight forwarders obviously unhappy there. From the ports to the stock market, some share prices have dropped on the stock market as some investors begin to sell off. This is largely due to the outbreak of coronavirus and measures to curtail its spread. Managing Director of the Ghana Stock Exchange, Eko Afezi, sheds more light on the situation as businesses continue to deal with the effects of the pandemic.
Risk as you speak. Today, there will be 9 million shares traded in MTN. 2 days ago, there was 19 million shares traded in MTN. So you find, like I said, some people who have those shares who want to just leave, just get out of the market. And they're buyers. If you were to be a buyer, you'll be looking for it at a lower price. So that's what is happening. For the banking sector, we've had trades happening, but the prices have also been going down. The recent decision not to allow dividends to be paid by banks is having some impact on the trading in the stocks of banks or the shares of banks. Of course, I think we have about 23 banks in Ghana, but they're just 8 here. But when you look at the fact that we have shareholders, many shareholders. Commercial Bank, for instance, has suspended about 80,000 shareholders, and we have most of them depending on dividends and not price appreciation. Same like Société Générale, Carl Bank, Standard Chartered Bank. So that decision is having impact on the share prices of these banks. Investors are selling in order to move out. So certainly decisions taken to contain the economic shocks of the pandemic can sometimes impact on the market. And an example is what I just said. The central bank might have a very good reason for introducing this measure or taking that decision. But then it has an impact, a negative impact on the share prices of these banks.
So are bank investors moving out?
Since Monday, I've seen prices of bank stocks going down. So it tells you some investors, of course, would like to cut down their losses and move out of them. But like I told you earlier on, as you get more people trade, then you have more values and more volumes also being traded. But then the share prices, which is key to the owners, the shareholders, is falling. So that is where the negative impact is.
Mr. Afeji says despite the drop in share prices, the first quarter performance of the stock market has been good.
Brokers have been trading remotely since that time. So this was not new to them, trading remotely. They don't trade on the floor here. So we don't have a physical meeting place where they come and meet and trade. So they can trade that through the wide area network that we have or through the internet. So we've had our trading activities going on uninterrupted. So in terms of operations, we haven't had any interruption in terms of operations. We also have the capacity as an exchange for the entire staff to work outside our physical address. So during the lockdown, nobody stepped in the office. We're all working from remote places, our homes, etc. So on that note, you realize that we have serious business continuity plans that we put in place way ahead of time. We have disaster recovery sites and all that. So we've had our operations uninterrupted. But then you realize that the impact is rather more on the selling and buying of shares itself. We've had some selling pressure, so we've had indices going down, prices going down. So there are more people who want to sell than more people who want to buy. But then when you look at the statistics, most people are going to get surprised that we've had more trades between January and April in 2020 than 2019. We've traded 128 million shares from January to April as compared to only 49 million in 2019. In terms of value, we've traded 99 million cedis worth of shares compared to 72 last year. So we've had more volumes, and it's coming from the fact that people are selling. So when you look at the index, like I was saying, the index rather has gone down about 6.9% this year compared to 8.8% same time last year. So it's even better this year.
Meaning that there has been activities on the
There has been activities on the market. Investors have their own strategies. Some will buy when prices are very low, or when there's a buyer's market. What it means is that the buyers control the price and hope that with time, these companies will still do well, pandemic will go away, and they'll benefit.
All right, from the stock market to sports, and checks by my colleagues at Joy Sports reveal that the local sports sector may need even more than 600 million cedis to be sustained when the COVID-19 challenges go away. Currently, when it comes to football alone, Joy Sports is reporting that the financial package agreed between the Ghana Football Association and Puma, kit sponsor of the country's teams, has been reviewed downwards. The agreement, we understand, has been cut by about 30%. There's more in this report.
Persons with knowledge on the development say the decision by the German kit manufacturer to review the agreement was necessitated by the negativity that surrounded Ghana following the premiere of the number 12 investigative documentary on corruption and match fixing in June 2018. The deal agreed between the Ghana FA and Puma. There were 3 benefits of the contract: to supply or provide kits up to 500,000 euros per year and a financial contribution of 800,000 euros per year under the last contract. There were other benefits at major competitions like Africa Cup of Nations. At every stage, there was a benefit of about 100,000 to 200,000 euros or more, depending on the stage the team reached. If Puma spent 500,000 euros to produce kits when sold, Ghana FA earned about 8% of the sales. This agreement expired in August 2018 because Puma contracts were scheduled to expire in August of World Cup years. It will be recalled that the normalization committee renewed the contract, but Puma was not convinced to keep to the same terms. The GFA delegation, headed by President Ket Okreku, met the kit sponsors in January and made proposals for assistance on youth and infrastructure development.
And joining me to discuss this some more is Joy Sports editor Gary R. Smith. Good to have you on the program this afternoon, Gary. I bet you have seen that report yourself, to a sign of things to come.
Yes, it is a sign of things to come, Daryl. I think it's pretty prudent to note the factors which have led to the downward review of the contract from Puma. 2 key reasons. The ANAS investigation, according to what we know, cast a negative shadow on Ghanaian football teams, which has translated into the low sales of our kits overall. And then secondly, the decreasing popularity of the Ghana national teams, because in the last 2-3 years, we have not been doing as well as we used to in the 4 previous years that we had a deal with Puma.
Okay, and so what's the potential impact of this downward review on the game football?
If you've been listening to the Joy Sports bulletins in the last week, we have been discussing what the Ghana Football Association should be using their FIFA allocation that has come for the year for. Now, in the last 10 days, FIFA has said that they are releasing $500,000 as a COVID relief package to all 211 football associations who are members of the organization. So the GFA is due to get $500,000, and there has been a huge debate already as to where that money should go, whether it should go to the clubs, whether the GFA should use it to service their own debts and stuff like that. So as we speak, the GFA are cash-strapped. Also, don't forget that the GFA have been asking the government of Ghana to also consider them when giving their stimulus packages. You know, the government gave 600 million in the stimulus package that I've heard you guys speaking about on JoyNews to small and medium enterprises, and then that other 1 billion that was given in the promise from the president's speech. They are asking the government to also give them that amount. So as we speak, the GFA is seriously looking for money, and any amounts that was coming from sponsors would have been really, really helpful. Now that this money is going down, it means that the GFA need to be inventive and creative to get money from elsewhere. It's not good news.
And it's great you brought up the subject of the stimulus package, because I've been monitoring the reporting of Joy Sports, and indications that the sports industry may need even more than 600 million cedis.
Of course, the operation cost, Daryl, for the Ghana Football Association per month is in the region of, I hear, $100,000 a month. Okay, wow. That's just operational cost. Now, if you consider what's 600 million cedis in dollars these days, you can do the math.
Yeah, work out the math.
So it's not enough.
Oh, you wanted me to do that now? Okay, fine. So we are talking about football, right? But it's not just football.
Yes.
There are other, sports that are affected by COVID-19. And then we talk about the businesses in the industry that contribute to making what we see on TV, here on radio, exciting.
Yeah, I mean, if football alone thinks that 600 million from the government may even be small, then you can imagine all the other sporting disciplines, because you know that, for example, we have a very vibrant basketball regime at the high school level. which is helping a lot of kids, who don't like football to be able to practice and get themselves active. The Ghana Education Service has a very rigorous physical education program that they need a lot of money to implement, especially in the public school system. You come to some of the other sports, especially like athletics and boxing, which apart from football, you could argue are the two biggest exponents for Ghana at international level. Boxing needs a lot of money to train amateur footballers, amateur boxers, for example, to get us more world champions, and they don't have money to do that. Athletics needs a lot of money to unearth talent in the villages, in the towns, and in the hamlets, and they don't have money to do that. With COVID, you can imagine that corporate Ghana will not put money there. So it's a dire time for the sporting industry as well, and we've been covering it on Joy Sport, and the look, Daryl, is not good.
Very dire times. My final question to you has to do with reopening of sports activities. I know some countries are considering reopening. Where are we at on this matter here in Ghana?
Every country that is considering an early opening of sporting activities is, one, looking at their government to lift the ban on social gatherings. Without that, you cannot, effectively have your sport going on. So that's what, for example, Germany have done. Ghana will need our president and our government to do that before any of our sporting federations can even think of implementing something like that. And then two, you need your national health services to bring out figures that suggest that the rate of community infections have gone down, or the risk of contacts between people spreading infections is very low. Once we don't get those figures, I'm afraid that we cannot have that. But Darren, here's something interesting. We understand that the Ghana Golf Association has written to the Ministry of Information and the government to exempt them from the ban on social gatherings. What is their argument? Their argument is that the game of golf already, engenders space between the players, and so they would not need to practice social distancing, as their sport already encourages them to do that. So it will be interesting to see if the government will do that for them.
We'll see the outcome of that, but great to have your perspective on this matter, and I'm great that you shared your perspective. Gary Al-Smith, thank you so much. And you're watching The Marketplace. We are taking a short break. We'll be right back. And that's The Marketplace this afternoon. Thanks for watching. We brought you stories from the ports where freight forwarders are asking for the restoration of the GCNet platform. We're also at the stock market, where we're hearing that some share prices have dropped following the COVID-19 pandemic. And as you heard me discuss with Gary Al-Smith, Puma has reviewed its sponsorship package with the GFA. And of course, the sports industry is not being left out of effects of the pandemic that is crashing businesses across the world. Thanks for watching. My name is Daryl Kwao. There's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business.